The parents received text messages from their daughter, who had been in the morgue for several days. Who was texting from the deceased girl's phone? The ghost of the girl will reveal the truth and unmask her murderer. You are watching Psychic Investigations, where people with extraordinary abilities investigate resonant criminal cases and shocking paranormal phenomena. In this episode, the Clairvoyants will try to find out what happened to Victoria Mankiewicz, a 30-year-old beauty, a translator, and a Sorbonne graduate. The woman was found dead in one of Kyiv's residential neighborhoods. The police investigators claim she jumped from the high floor of a high-riser. However, Victoria's mother and other members of her family are certain she was murdered.
Victoria's body was found here. It's a high-riser. She lived a kilometer away from it. Over here in another high-riser. If it was suicide, then why didn't she jump from the top of the building she lived in?
How and why Victoria ended up there is still a mystery, and it's truly shocking.
I received a text from her. "Hi, Mom, I'm fine." However, she was already at the morgue when it happened. How is this even possible?
Victoria's body was taken to the morgue on April 13th, but on the 15th, her friends and mother received text messages from her.
I dialed her, trying to get through to her for a long time, but then a reply came. "I feel really unwell. I won't be able to access the communications during the weekend. I'll call you on Monday."
We went to search for her on the 21st. She was supposed to be buried on the 22nd as an unidentified body.
Victoria didn't have her ID or phone with her. If she had been buried as a homeless person, nobody would have found any trace of her.
I made the final attempt to contact her on the 19th of April. I heard a tone. That is, her phone was still charged and working.
Only on the 9th day, when Victoria's phone went silent, her family went to the police.
Victoria's father lives in Rivne, while her mother lives in Italy, so her cousin was the one who notified the police of her disappearance.
They called me from the police and told me there was an unidentified woman at the morgue, and described her. From the description of the tattoo and clothes, I immediately knew it was her.
They wanted to close the case, claiming it was suicide, but it couldn't be suicide.
We examined the body and found no other injuries, other than those caused by the fall from a great height.
A motive is required for both suicide and homicide. Victoria had none. She was successful in her career. She worked as a translator at a large international company, lived with a man she loved, and most importantly, she was planning to marry him and have children.
She could be my wife and the mother of my child.
This man, Victoria's beloved man, is Alexei Volkov, a famous Kyiv fitness coach. The couple had lived together for about a year.
We planned to have a baby. She wanted a boy, while I wanted a girl.
They had plans for the future. They thought of the names in case they'd have a girl or a boy. Beyond doubt, it couldn't be suicide.
I was in Prague when I learned of her death. Can you imagine how anxious I felt, being all alone abroad? I'm ready to sacrifice all my resources to find who did it.
Dear Psychics, I beg you to help me. Who and why killed my daughter?
The best experts undertook the case: a Ukrainian clairvoyant, Yana Shulakova, and a British spiritual medium, Anna Galliers. The psychics are already listening to the woman's final audio record, a voice message she sent to her mother several days before she died.
"Hi, Mom. I'm going to come to Rivne for about 2 days to visit Grandma. I hope you're doing well. Kiss you."
It doesn't sound like a message from someone who is going to kill themselves.
I see a young woman in a room. There's a man standing next to her. He punctures her body with a needle, and I feel the scent of medicine. He's related to her death. Then he could be a doctor. He's strong and authoritative. Victoria isn't his first victim.
It's strange. I saw her on a high-riser's balcony with another young woman. They're of the same age, and they even look somewhat alike. We need to find out who wrote the text on behalf of Victoria. I feel that her phone is still in the hands of that person.
Victoria's parents and relatives are already waiting for the clairvoyants in the courtyard where her body was found.
We think she was murdered and then brought here.
Your daughter is so delicate on the outside, but she's got a character of a strong man.
Yes, it's true. If she was highly determined.
Victoria's childhood ended when she was 15 years old, following the divorce of her parents. Her mother went to work in Italy, and she stayed with her father, an ex-military officer.
She studied Slavic studies at the local university here in Rivne. She made her living by writing course papers for money at nights.
Later, as part of a student exchange program, Victoria went to France. This provided her with the opportunity to enter the Faculty of Arts and Humanities at Sorbonne University.
Who is Irina?
It's me.
Irina is Victoria's aunt and her closest relative after her parents. It was she who went to the morgue for the identification.
She bears a grudge against you. You saw something that could change the course of the investigation dramatically, but you didn't pay much attention to it.
A bruise and punctures. There were 3 dots like punctures, and a bruise like the one you have after an injection in the vein. She had the same.
I feel there was some substance in Victoria's body that made her feel disoriented.
Could somebody give her an injection of something?
Did they conduct a chemical examination at the police station?
The investigator didn't even view her case as something other than suicide, and so she didn't order any extra examinations.
Your daughter's spirit says we need to go upstairs to the balcony out of which she fell. What floor did she fall from?
We don't know.
Come quick. Victoria's spirit will show us.
The clairvoyants ended up at the 13th floor.
She says it's here. Your daughter says she was here. Victoria was here.
I had a feeling that she was around us.
And in my vision, I saw another young woman next to her. Your daughter says she left you some sign. Look.
Ola.
Ola.
It turned out that the name of the young woman from my vision was Ola. She was very beautiful, dark-haired and fair-eyed.
We don't know who it could be. Could this Ola be texting you from her phone?
Who sent those texts? It wasn't a woman. A man wrote those texts.
This man has something to do with the woman that I saw on the balcony. Victoria's spirit says we must find her phone.
Do you know where to go?
The spirit will lead us.
I'll stay here to try to find out what to do about this Ola. I'll call you later.
Anna Galliers goes where she feels led.
The spirit shows me a colorful wall of a building. The picture is made up of little squares.
Is it a mosaic wall or what?
Yes, and there are flowers in the picture.
Yana Shulakova stayed to work with her pendulum in the map of Kyiv.
My pendulum is showing 2 spots in different ends of the city. Let's go where it's closer. The picture matches the trees, tall enough but with cropped tops. And the building, a high-riser. There are plenty of lilies around it. Pull over here. I'd better get off and walk. There are the lilies.
The clairvoyant has found one spot, but where should she look for Ola?
If the women were friends, they could go to visit each other. The residents of the building could see Victoria.
In the courtyard, the residents approach the crew. One of them knows a young woman named Ola. She says she's a lot like the one in the photo.
She wasn't tall. Her height was quite average. She was dark-haired and very calm.
You're speaking of Ola in the past tense. Did she die?
It turns out that Ola died 4 years ago, a lot earlier than Victoria did.
Victoria and Ola were similar in many ways. Both of them were successful, educated, and beautiful young women. They were somehow connected. But how?
Ola used to be the branch manager of one of the Kyiv banks. 6 months before she died, she received an invitation to work abroad.
My daughter was offered a contract in Austria. In mid-December, she called me and said she was going to Kyiv on business for a few days, and since it was a Christmas season, she was going to stay and celebrate the New Year.
But the morning after she arrived in Kyiv, Ola died.
Early in the morning, my wife received a call informing her that our daughter had been found dead under her apartment's windows.
Ola's death became a shock not only for her parents, but also for her boyfriend. We were quite surprised to learn that in the last year of her life, Ola dated Alexei, the same man Victoria began to live with later. In the meantime, the feeling brought Anna Galliers to the building with the mosaics she saw in her vision.
We're almost there. Victoria says there are texts with threats on her phone. They were sent by a woman with a child who lives in the first apartment.
Katerina lives in it. She has a son, Alexei.
Who is this Katerina? And why did she threaten Victoria?
Victoria's spirit says her friends know about the threats.
Our expert spoke to Victoria's friends. She discovered that Katerina was Alexei Volkov's other girlfriend.
This ex tried to return him. She occasionally reminded him of herself, trying to convince him to leave Victoria and come back to her, and so on. She also threatened Victoria personally.
Katerina started showing up with scandals. She beat on the door shouting, "Who is that bitch? Get her out of here. I'll be waiting for her outside, and when I see her, I'll tear her hair off." I understood that she lived nearby. Nobody knows what a woman who is in love and has a wild imagination can do.
Did Katerina really get rid of her rival? Was she also involved in Ola's death?
Your daughter's spirit mentions Alexei. He didn't break up with that woman. He cheated on your daughter, and she learned about it.
She never told me anything about it.
There was a scandal, and the man beat your daughter.
They quarreled once when they were sitting in the car. I don't know the reason behind the argument, but he hit her in the jaw with his elbow.
Does this mean that Victoria and Alexei's relationship wasn't ideal?
Victoria says it's time that we know that on the night of her death, she was with Alexei.
But wasn't Alexei supposedly abroad when Victoria died? However, it turned out that he was the last person to see Victoria alive. It was in the apartment in which they lived together. Only later on did he go abroad.
The door was closed. I was taking a shower. She was walking around the apartment, dressing, and then she said she wanted to walk and was going to a store.
The man says he didn't see his girlfriend after that. He thought she probably went to visit somebody, so he went on his strip.
I managed to find several more of Alexei Volkov's girlfriends. One of them, Tetiana, was the daughter of people who are very well known in Rivne. 16 years ago, she was found dead next to a high-riser, just like Ola and Victoria.
It's spine-chilling. How could it be possible that 3 young women related to the same man died in a similar way? Our expert has found 2 more women who used to date Alexei. Fortunately, they're both alive. Marina from Kyiv told her that after she refused to have a relationship with the man, somebody poured a bucket of paint over her car. The security cameras caught him. The man who did it arrived in a car that looked like Alexei's a lot.
He was waiting for the man who poured the paint, and then they left together.
However, it's impossible to wrap your head around the story that another of Alexei Volkov's girlfriends told us.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Asya met him in 2013, not long after Ola's death. She says that at the beginning of the relationship, the man behaved like a gentleman. But a year later, he turned into a beast, and full of jealousy, he once almost beat her to death.
He opened the door, telling me to get out. I started moving, and then there was immediately a punch of a fist in my nose. I fell and saw blood, and I remember the click. I realized my nose was broken. There was such aggression in his eyes that I understood he could kill me. He was insane, like a maniac who came to kill me.
This nightmare took place at a waste ground in Kyiv's suburb. The woman says she was only saved by drivers that were passing by. After that, Asya told Alexei she was breaking up with him.
He threatened to pay a homeless man to pour acid over me or my child, or that I would be raped while he would be somewhere else to have an alibi. The first thing he did was warn me not to go to the police, saying he had many friends in various spheres, including the police and criminals.
Because of the man's threats, the poor woman was afraid to go outside.
I told my friends and colleagues that if I fell out of the window, they would need to go to the police immediately, because I know suicide is a sin, and I would never do it to myself.
Victoria's spirit says the man was very cruel, so she couldn't find the courage to leave him. She feared.
It turned out that Ola, one of Alexei's ex-girlfriends, was also going to leave him not long before she died.
She was going to leave him, like Victoria. We called him. He told us that they quarreled, and Ola took a taxi and left his place at about 11 in the evening.
And the next morning, concierge who was on duty found Ola's body.
I feel there was some substance in Victoria's body that made her feel disoriented.
This is precisely what Marina felt after Alexei gave her a strange chocolate candy.
He pumped me with drugs. He said his friends brought delicious chocolates from Switzerland.
The woman says that after that, she experienced memory loss. Then she woke up in Alexei's apartment.
I found myself in his apartment, partly undressed. He grabbed me by my hands and threw me on the couch. Then he climbed on top of me and pressed his arm to my throat. He was like a werewolf that turned into a monster.
But if Alexei gave Marina drugs disguised as a chocolate, he could do the same to Victoria on the day of her death.
He is the doctor who gave her the injections.
Katerina Malachenko found the information that Alexei Volkov is a venereologist by education. He himself gave Victoria the injections that her doctors prescribed her.
Victoria says it was Alexei who sent you the messages after your daughter was dead. He has her phone now.
It turns out that Alexei hasn't returned Victoria's possessions to her family. The psychics decided to speak to the investigator who wanted to close the case as suicide.
If we managed to find the information on Alexei's background, why didn't you check him?
What do you mean? We did check him.
All the women died in the same manner. They were all wealthy and confident, and all of them were in relationships with Alexei. It's impossible that all of these were coincidences.
The clairvoyants in Victoria's family went to Alexei's apartment. Nobody answered the door.
We'll dial him and try to speak to him. Hello, is this Alexei? Tell us please, where are you? In Kyiv? Could we meet and talk? So, you mind? Why haven't you returned her belongings to her mother?
I'm not trying to hide those things.
Can I give the phone to her mother, please?
No.
Tell him to come over here, please.
So, you're quite willing to communicate through the investigator, aren't you?
The family is waiting. They want to see you and have her things back. Are you coming?
We must grab him by the scruff and take here forcefully.
So you are currently in Zhytomyr, am I right?
He said he was in Kyiv 5 minutes ago, but now he claims he's in Zhytomyr.
I feel that among Victoria's possessions that Alexei is keeping, there is her phone. The man used it to send her friends and family messages after she died.
This is all we can do here. We did everything we could in this situation.
Thank you.
Be brave. Be brave and finish what you've started.
Yes, thank you so much.
Sometime after the psychic's investigation, Alexei Volkov was sentenced to jail. He was arrested during an attempt to murder his next girlfriend. We hope he will never hurt anyone else. If you're impressed by this story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more astonishing stories are still to come. This is absolutely incredible. A woman captured a poltergeist ravaging her home on camera.
Look, here. Here, look, not bad, isn't it? I'm absolutely shocked. The chair's turning.
The owner of the apartment sent the video to psychics immediately so they could find out what kind of force it is, and the answer is going to shock you. Welcome to Psychics Investigate. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants investigate tangled criminal cases and various mysterious phenomena. In this episode, the psychics are going to deal with an aggressive poltergeist that's attacking a young mother and her 2 children.
It all began with the rapping on the door. I answered it, but there was nobody there.
Yana lives in a 3-bedroom apartment with her 2 sons. Her younger son, Ilya, was the first to feel the poltergeist's presence at home.
He woke up shouting out, "There's a man over there." I told him, "It was an illusion, dear."
But at that moment, the remote control car turned on and began riding itself.
The first thing I did was to check the remote. It was on the wardrobe.
Then the woman's elder son, Artur, also felt the presence of the evil spirit.
He went to the kitchen to drink water and saw a man's silhouette in the bar mirror. He was reflected in full size, from his head to his feet.
All of a sudden, the mirror in the cabinet cracked in front of the boy's eyes. After that, Yana also saw the poltergeist.
I woke up to the feeling that there was somebody standing near me. I opened my eyes and saw a man's face.
Yana got out of bed and went to the cabinet to find a church candle to say a prayer. But all of a sudden, something tore the cabinet's upper door away and threw it straight at her.
The door fell and hit me on the nose. It started to bleed, and it was very bad.
After that event, the woman had a camera installed in her apartment to record the evidence that the invisible attacker really existed.
I was afraid to tell anybody because they would think I was insane. This is terrifying.
Yana has lived in this apartment since she was a child, but recently she stopped feeling safe in her own home. Therefore, she's asking the psychics to help her deal with the evil spirit.
I really need help so I can have peace of mind and know my children are safe, so I can live peacefully in my own apartment.
Ukraine's most powerful psychics, Olena Kurilova and Kayal Alekperov, agreed to help the woman. Before setting off to see Yana, the psychics decide to work with her video clip.
This is a dead man.
He's searching for something. There's some kind of mystery related to his death.
I had a vision. This woman, Yana, is in the room, and next to her, I see a severed male head.
Is this the same man?
I don't know yet.
Is it possible that this Yana killed somebody?
Do we have her photo?
I see a vivid picture. 3 women sit facing one another. They put on kerchiefs on their heads and pass a little wooden thing to one another. It looks like some figurine or something, and it's all wrapped up in or entwined with something.
Seems like some kind of ritual, but what does it have to do with Yana?
Some ropes, threads, and knots. She's one of the 3. She's one of the 3 women.
2 hours later, the psychics arrive in the town where Yana lives and are at her apartment building.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really, really grateful. Help me, please. There's somebody living in my apartment.
This is a man's spirit, and this dead man is somehow bound to you.
Who is this?
Can we enter your apartment to summon this man's spirit?
Of course you can, of course.
But before everyone had even entered the building, Kayal Alekperov shocked everyone with what he felt.
There's the spirit of a man here. Beware. He's aggressive.
Flower pots fell from the windowsill. What is going on here? Does the psychic see the spirit that's haunting Yana and her children? But who is this man?
Quiet, quiet. Kyle? Where's his head?
He says, at my home. Where's your home?
God, help and protect me. This is my home.
I'd seen the head of this man, whose spirit appeared in the building when we entered, in the vision I had before the investigation. Was he murdered in Yana's apartment? Could she have been involved in it somehow? My jinns are showing me a ring, but I don't understand what connection it can have with the beheaded man. Olena, what's the matter?
Sit down, sit down. Are you unwell?
My legs gave way. I had a sudden vision. A beheaded man lying in the middle of the room.
Olena, sit down. I see this room, but it has no ceiling and I can see the sky. I see a crane. The building is being constructed. A man wearing a builder's helmet squats at the wall, doing something.
What else do you see?
Something falls off the crane. It's something heavy, like a concrete slab. It lands on his neck, cutting his head off.
Yes, it happened when this building was being constructed. There was an accident at the construction site. A man's head was torn off. Yes, it did happen here.
Suddenly, Kayal Alekperov left the room and began working at the front door. What has the psychic felt?
I don't see the spirit in your apartment. He can't cross the threshold. Did you invite a priest when you moved in here?
Mom said she invited a priest, and he blessed the apartment.
Yana is from an Armenian family that lived in Azerbaijan for many generations. 30 years ago, they had to leave the country after war broke out there.
We left the country because there was the war, and people died there.
Yana's parents were given the apartment in which she lives now as refugees. Later, the neighbors told them that the apartment had been empty for a long time, as people feared to live in it. This is the reason why Yana's parents arranged for the priest to perform a blessing on their new residence.
The beheaded man's spirit had frightened everyone who moved into the apartment, to which he's bound. But after Yana's parents had it blessed, he couldn't enter it and had to stay on the stairwell. He needs to be released. I'll do the ritual on the stairwell.
Then whose spirit is ravaging the apartment? And why can't the blessing protect the place from it?
The spirit of the man that's harming Yana appeared here not so long ago, and it's bound to her herself, not to the apartment.
I decided to check Yana's life with my cards to see if I could find the answer in her past. The card of death. The lovers. The cards told me of some kind of romantic unfaithfulness related to death. But back then, I didn't understand what it meant. The card of the woman. She's holding something in her hands. You took something with your hands. Wait. Did you find some strange items?
I did. 3 candles made of 3 interwoven thin candles, each in a cross burned on a sheet of paper.
I hear a quarrel between you and a woman. Yana, this is somebody from your family.
Could it be somebody from my family?
The woman is related to you. She has some property claims. It might be connected with this apartment.
It could only be my sister.
The big family of Yana's grandmother, her parents, and 3 children used to live in this apartment. Yana's grandmother and father died. Her brother and mother went to live in the US several years ago. Her sister, Ilona, married and went to live with her husband in his 1-bedroom apartment. And, according to Yana, her sister is not happy. She inherited their parents' apartment.
Could Yana's sister use magic against her?
Yana phoned her sister, Ilona, who lives in the same town. She agreed to speak to the psychics, regardless of the fact that she and Yana barely communicate.
Hello.
Hello. My name's Ilona.
Hello.
You had a kind of conflict because of the property.
Yes, we did quarrel quite a lot.
We were like enemies.
The sisters couldn't come to terms with each other. Ilona and her husband and 2 children have to share a 1-bedroom apartment, and she has the right to a part of their parents' apartment. But it's easy to understand Yana. She doesn't wish to sell the apartment in which she's lived since her childhood. The women argued because of it so much that they couldn't even see each other.
I haven't spoken to her at all for almost a year.
But could Ilona be involved into the events that are happening to her sister?
We found the items made purposefully to cause death at her home.
Do you think I did it? Go and check it.
Did these hands do this? No.
I was a little bit shocked that my sister could even think I could do something like this to her.
This woman doesn't wish you death.
It's a load off my shoulders.
You shouldn't be enemies with each other. You're sisters, and you must support each other.
Of course. She's my sister. My God, how could you think it was me?
It seems like the women have been looking for a chance to forget all their quarrels and finally reconcile.
I will never harm her in my life. Never.
I am sorry if I did something that hurt you.
It would be a lot easier to find out who did that if we could at least see those things.
What did you do to them?
Nothing. I kept them. They're at my home.
Look, how could you do something like this?
Hurry! We need to get to your apartment. The magic is directed at your children's deaths.
Help me. My children are everything I have in my life.
Tell me, please. Have you buried your child?
Yes. I was pregnant with twins. Then I had a miscarriage and lost one baby. Ilya survived.
Those items took away the other baby. Where did you find them?
In my bag in the bedroom.
For how long had the bag been there unused?
For about 3 years.
The woman recalls that the last time she used that bag was before her younger son was born.
Yana, my sacred book says it was done by a woman who couldn't have children. She shifted her fate to you.
And then I realized where the package of the candles came from. I already had a case like that in my life. About 10 years ago, my friend came to me and said, Olena, look, I was riding the subway with this bag. And when I came back home and opened it, I found the kerchief in it. And in the kerchief, 3 candles and the same cross, but made of wax, were wrapped.
Do you mean her bag was open and someone planted that thing on her while she was using the subway?
When a woman can't have a baby, she goes to a black hag. The black hag tells her to find a young and beautiful woman and plant the thing into her bag. It was planted on you.
But it has nothing to do with the man that's been haunting your home.
Anyway, we need to get rid of it. And I've sealed it with the wax from my blessed candle.
But who is that entity that's haunting Yana's apartment? Whose spirit is this, and why is it threatening the woman and her children?
Who are you, and why did you die?
It's a clue. What is this?
This thing is deadly.
It's a ritual thing. It's charmed.
What does this mean? Did the woman carry out some kind of magic ritual?
I hear some strange words. Wait, this is my language. It's a widow's curse.
It's unbelievable. But who cursed whom? And where does the thing come from? And what is it?
It's a spindle. It's my grandma's.
It turned out that Yana's grandmother brought the spindle from Azerbaijan.
She always carried it with herself.
Always. She always took it whenever she moved to another town or country. I never saw her use the thing.
When her granddaughter asked her, the old woman said it was a gift, and it had value for her as a memory. After Yana's grandma died, first her mother and then Yana herself kept the thing as an antique. But the woman would never think it could be loaded with a curse.
Tell me, was your grandmother a widow?
Yes.
Was your mother a widow?
Yes.
Are you a widow?
Yes.
It's hard to believe, but this woman is a widow? How is it possible? She's so young. As it turned out, 4 years ago, Yana lost her husband.
I see a road. Did your husband die on the road?
Yes. He crashed on a highway.
Tell me, what was his name?
His name was Algis.
Yana's husband was Lithuanian. He had a business in Ukraine. They met at a party thrown by their mutual friends. The woman says it was love at first sight. But the happiness didn't last long. 5 years after the wedding, Algis died in a car wreck. He lost control of his car. His death was a terrible shock for Yana.
He was a very fair kind of person. Very kind. He was very fair. He loved me a lot. It was a great love.
The first son isn't his, is he? He took you with your eldest son, saying it's his boy, didn't he?
Yes, he wanted to adopt him.
The father of Yana's eldest son was the first love of her youth. But their relationship went sour. For a long time, she was alone until she met the man who made her happy.
Olena, please remember the vision you had before the investigation.
The 3 women passing something among them.
The 3 women are Yana and her grandmother and mother, all of whom became widows. The spindle is cursed. Whoever held it in her hands lost her husband. A woman gave this spindle to your grandmother on the day of her wedding. She had imposed a spell on it. She hated your grandmother because she was jealous of a man's affection for her.
It was Grandma's sister. They had a conflict because of a man. I remember clearly that it was because of the man.
The cursed spindle killed 3 men from Yana's family. Her grandfather, her father, and her husband.
Olena, do you remember when we were watching the video before the investigation from this room, you said the man's spirit was searching for something? My jinns are showing me a wedding ring. This is your husband's spirit that's haunting you.
He loved me so much. Why is he angry? Is it because of the ring?
Let's summon him. Okay, close your eyes. With my words, with my requests, with my candles, with my prayers. Hold on, dear, I'm reciting. The candle, give me the candle.
It went out. The candle died out.
Kayal, give me the candle. Light it. Go away. Leave this place and never come back.
I'm praying to God. Please leave.
Your husband's spirit is here. He's not going to go away. He says, "You cheated on me."
Me? Cheated?
He's infuriated. Look at the chandelier. He says, "You were unfaithful. Ilya is not my son, and you're lying to everyone. You tell them he's my son."
Does this mean the woman who 5 minutes ago told everyone of the heavenly love had been cheating on her husband?
Were you pregnant from somebody else when you were married to him?
I know I did a wrong thing, and I don't reject it.
This is your wedding photo. It's not an accident that it fell off the wall. His spirit tumbled it. He's giving you the sign that he doesn't wish to be your husband.
A romantic affair related to death. She was unfaithful to her husband, and he only learned of it after his death.
Yana's husband was often out of town. His business demanded frequent trips. Yana often stayed alone, and she missed him a lot. She says she only had one date with the other man, and it happened at the moment of weakness. Only after she made the mistake did Yana realize how much she loved her husband. She soon knew she was pregnant. She was going to tell Algis, but was late. He died.
Yana, did you record your husband as the boy's father?
Yes, I was married after all.
He hates you because of this unfaithfulness and wishes to take the wedding ring he gave you, but he can't find it anywhere.
I did have the wedding ring from him, but I don't have it anymore. I had to sell it.
You were so used to your husband's infinite love that you didn't even think how hurt he would be.
This is my sin, I know. I'm not going to deny it. Of course it was a betrayal. What do I do?
You must ask him for forgiveness. We are going to recite prayers, and you will tell him what you have on your heart.
Algis, please forgive me for my mistakes and my unfaithfulness. Please go and leave me and the children alone. I'm begging you. Please let me go. Please. Please. Forgive me.
He heard your sincere tears.
To make sure he doesn't return, you must buy a new ring and take it to your husband's grave.
I promise you, I'll do it.
And you must also return the cursed spindle to your grandmother so it won't harm anybody else. Take it to her grave.
I will do it. Thank you so much.
I'm going to pray for you and your children.
This woman lived in lies for so long, and because of it, she almost lost her and her children's lives. However, it appears that she has learned a crucial lesson. You can never hide the truth. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Even more amazing stories are waiting for you. A merciless murderer from the beyond is taking the members of the same family to the other world, one by one. What skeletons are the poltergeist's victims hiding in their wardrobes? And what do they owe the ghost? Welcome to Psychics Investigate, a channel of true stories about mystical riddles and criminal cases, solved by people with extra abilities who call themselves psychics. Anna Horyacheva from Ukraine contacted the psychics, asking for help. The woman frequently sees a ghost, and she's certain it's her father.
I go to sleep, and when I wake up, I see a ghost close by. It's so close that I can feel its breath. I'm so scared.
And every time after seeing the ghost, Anna finds herself in danger. First, right in the middle of the street, she fell into a manhole. After that, Anna was almost squeezed to death by a malfunctioning elevator door. And then she was electrocuted. And last week, a motorcycle hit Anna while she was crossing the road.
I was dragged along the asphalt and thrown under a car. The drivers of the passing cars stopped and called an ambulance.
Anna is sure it's not a coincidence. Her elder sister, Lyubov, also saw the ghost fairly regularly. And she's dead now. The woman, pregnant with twins, was beaten to death by a stranger in the street.
She was all bruised. He beat her everywhere. She was pregnant. It was extremely hard to see this.
The man didn't steal anything, and he immediately fled the scene. People heard Lyubov screaming and called an ambulance. The woman was taken to the emergency department, but her injuries were fatal. Lyubov didn't survive.
I was the last one to see her in the hospital before she died. I arrived there, but she barely heard me.
Anna was looking into the eyes of her dying sister, who was whispering terrible words.
You're next. It was awful.
But the weirdest thing is that Anna's father loved his children when he was alive. There were 6 of them in the big family, 2 sons and 4 daughters, to whom their father was a model of an ideal man.
He was perfect. He had a good, mild character.
Anna's mother died when the girl was 7. The father had to raise the 6 children alone.
Of course, we had difficult times. There were 6 of us, so we always had problems with the money. But we were never hungry.
The woman says that after her mother died, her father didn't give up and did the best he could. But the terrible loss eventually broke him. The man was diagnosed with cancer. He desperately fought the condition for many years until it finally took his life.
He had pains. When Lyubov and I last saw him in the hospital, it was the first time I'd ever seen him sobbing. It was the last time we saw our father.
But even in her nightmares, Anna couldn't have imagined that her loving father could become a murderous spirit who would be hunting his own children.
I couldn't even imagine it would ever be possible.
Anna is 30. Her greatest dream is to become a mother, and she wants to marry, so she's begging the psychics to help her.
The psychics are my last and only hope.
The project's psychics, Yana Shulikova and Olga Kalinova from the Czech Republic, took up the investigation. They immediately set out to see Anna.
When I tuned in to their father yesterday, the cards showed me something very strange. Unrequited love and rape.
This is horrific. Could Anna's father rape anybody?
I had a strange dream. A young woman wearing a wreath of white flowers. She held out the wreath to me and said, "I can't kill anymore." She's here, and she says her name is Ludmila. The woman showed me her grave. There were purple flowers on it, and I felt that she died in the last days of winter, almost on her birthday.
We need to ask Anna. She might know her.
Anna is a cargo crane operator. She has just finished her shift, and the psychics meet her in the downtown.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm relieved to see you.
Could you hold it, please?
Anna, did you happen to know a deceased woman named Ludmila? She died in later winter, almost on her birthday.
I have no idea who it could be.
It's weird. Then why did her spirit visit us?
Who could be pushing Anna into the other world? Is it her father? Or could it be the mysterious woman who Olga Kalinova saw in her dream?
Do you have a photo of your deceased sister?
I do.
I'd like to tune into her energy to know what kind of force took her away.
Yes, yes.
I see her next to you.
Immediately after they started talking, I felt the warmth spreading on my left arm and leg.
My feelings tell me that your sister indeed fell prey to some kind of spirit, but she claims your father didn't kill her. It wasn't him. Your father loved you a lot. He's like a guarding angel. He's protecting you. This is the only reason you're still alive.
If it's not her father, then who's to blame for Anna constantly being in danger? The energy of Anna's sister's spirit didn't let the psychics tune in and concentrate, so they went further away from the place where they communicated with the woman's spirit.
At that moment, the cards showed me another death. A young man, Anna's blood relative. He was taken away by the same otherworldly force. It must be your brother.
Yes, my elder brother. It came as a surprise for everyone. It happened before the new year. My sister called me and said our brother was dead.
This is horrendous. Another death in the family. It turned out Anna's brother Valerie had a heart attack. He was only 31.
I have a feeling that everyone in your family bears the death mark.
Could we see your other relatives now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Anna phones her sisters and brother. Soon afterward, they arrive to see the psychics.
Hello, my name is Olho.
Valentina.
Serhi?
Hold the cards in your hands, please. The moment I took the cards from Olha, I saw the same woman from my vision standing behind her. With her hand, she reached out to Olha's heart.
Ow, something's squeezing. Ouch.
Give her water. Let her sit down. Breathe. Breathe deeper. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Take a breath. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
The dead woman did it. This is her who is killing your family. She's going to take you all away, one by one. But most probably, the dead woman didn't want to kill those people. Some kind of magic spell made her a murderer. It was done by some woman. I hear her saying, "If I don't get what is mine, I'll destroy them. They're going to die like puppies." Who could wish something like this to you?
Our neighbor. Yes, she could curse us.
The cards showed me that the woman was allegedly trying to become these children's mother, but she failed for some reason, and she's borne a grudge ever since.
She had no children.
Did she want to adopt you?
Yes.
To see if the neighbor is really connected to the deaths in the family, I tuned into the past, to the moment when the children lost their mother. What I saw there horrified me. Your mother, her death was terrible.
Yes, she died, giving birth.
She delivered Serhi, and when the doctors left her, she bled to death.
But I don't understand why your neighbor wanted to take you away. You had the father.
He was disabled. He used to work at the factory and a pipe fell on his foot and injured him.
After his wife died, the man had to work several jobs to provide for his children. Once, he seriously injured his foot and ended up disabled. Social services became interested in the family right away. Fortunately, the grandmother took custody of the children.
Our grandma was a brilliant person. I'm so grateful to her that I can't.
The cards told me the same force that took 2 of her children killed your mother. And this happened because of the magic of the woman with whom your mother had a conflict. Did your mother have a conflict with your neighbor?
Yes, they conflicted a lot.
Where does that woman live?
Where we grew up.
Is it far from here?
It's 10 kilometers away.
10 minutes later, the psychics arrived there. Anna and her sisters and brother left the village long ago, and their grandmother, who they used to visit here, died a few years ago.
This is where she lives, and that is our house.
Hello. Hello. We're helping this family.
I know these ladies. Such beauties they are. They grew up without their father and mother, but how beautiful they are. But I haven't seen Serhi for a long time. I barely recognize him. Well, you look at this handsome young man.
You're saying such good things about them, but they told us you cursed them and their mother and wished them all death.
I never cursed them. God forbid. You know how it is in a village? Maybe I did get angry one day, but it's really nothing.
My cards told me that the woman didn't practice magic, and her curse was ordinary swearing. Besides, she didn't mean evil to anybody in this family. You swore because you were deeply unhappy. You couldn't control yourself, looking at the happy woman, a mother of many children. I feel now that your greatest wish in life was to give birth to a child.
Of course it was. But God's will for me was to live without any children.
You're alone and you're also alone. Help them, please. And you help her, please, as neighbors.
Thank you, children. There wasn't a day when I didn't think of you. I thought of you every day.
It turned out she never meant evil to nobody. She's unhappy, but she's not evil.
She's here, the dead woman in the wreath. She's entered the yard.
The window pane cracked. I'm terrified.
I have goosebumps.
I looked around and recognized the yard. Yana. The dead woman turned this house into ruins. I saw it in my vision.
The dead woman won't stop until she deals with everyone in the family. The love that was attempted to be taken by force is the reason for that. I see an outraged, offended woman in this yard. She's arguing with your mother. She's shouting, "You must leave him."
Dad?
He's a bastard. He's a rapist.
A rapist?
We don't know this woman, but there was such a story.
Grandma told us.
There was a woman who asked Dad to give her a lift on his motorcycle. Dad had an Ural with a sidecar. She asked him to give her a lift somewhere where it was too far to walk. Long story short, he did it, but she then claimed he'd raped her.
Did she tell your mother this?
Yes.
But your mother tells her to go away. She says, "You're lying, go away from here."
Wait, but the cards are telling me that your father was detained by the police because of the rape.
She complained to the police. They arrived and said he'd raped her and that they had a claim from the victim.
So they took Dad and put him in jail.
Wait. What if the woman who blamed their father put the death spell on the family and is killing all of its members?
It's quite possible. But who can tell us the truth about this woman?
Dad. Only Dad knew who she was.
We need to summon his spirit.
Where is he buried?
It's not far from here.
The father of the family and his wife and children are buried in the same cemetery. 15 minutes later, the psychics are there.
We summoned your father's spirit, but your mother is also here. She says she's happy to see you as adults. She loves you so much.
Mum, why didn't I see you in my dreams? Why won't you visit me?
Your mother says she didn't want to scare you, but she's always been around.
We miss you so much.
We miss your advice and your embrace.
I still remember her scent. I couldn't sleep. And if I did sleep, it was only pressing her gown to me. That was the only option possible. Mum, it was so hard for me.
My children, I wish I could embrace each of you. I wish I could embrace you, son, because you've never seen me in your life.
I love you too. For a moment, I felt motherly warmth, as if I was embracing my mom. I don't think you can ever feel something like this if you never saw your mother.
I've always been around. I lulled you in the cradle, and I was next to you when you were ill.
Anna recalls that after her little brother was brought from the hospital, his cradle rocked itself.
Grandma told me that she once woke up to someone singing a lullaby, and she said the cradle was rocking itself. Mom came to lull him, so he would sleep. I felt warmth in Mom's scent.
I feel like Mom is embracing me. Mom, visit us more often. It might be in a dream, but please come to talk to me.
And your father, he's standing and crying.
Wait, was your father's guilt proven in court?
No, he was released because of the lack of evidence.
This woman wanted to punish the man for his refusal to be with her. It's a revenge. The revenge caused by female jealousy.
She was head over heels in love with him, so she claimed it. So Mom would leave him because he allegedly raped someone.
I felt that the man simply talked to this woman cheerfully at some celebration. But she fell in love with him and decided to take him away from the family, whatever it took her.
She used lies and slander. But when it didn't work, the woman decided to use magic to get rid of her rivals.
She was looking for the hands that would kill the whole family, and she succeeded in it. It's the woman that you saw.
The dead woman in the wreath. She's standing behind you.
Hush, hush.
Water! Water! Water!
The woman in the wreath grabbed me by the hand. I'm all right. This woman who's killing, her grave is nearby. We need to find her real quick. Oh God, this is her, the dead woman in the wreath of white flowers. Her name is Lyudmila, the purple flowers and the date of her death, late winter. She died almost on her birthday.
We don't know this woman.
We don't even know who she was.
You don't necessarily need to know her. She doesn't want to kill you. She was forced to do so by magic. The magic was done by the woman who loved your father.
I see tiny white flowers. It's a wedding wreath.
Mom wore a similar white wreath for her wedding.
The grandmother told her grandchildren that some woman from their village asked their mother for her wedding wreath, claiming she wanted it for her own wedding.
And Mom gave her the wreath.
Your mom's rival asked the village woman to take the wreath from your mom, and then she buried it in the grave. The desperate marriage wrecker made this stranger's spirit a murderer.
And I can't take the wreath.
God, please do something.
We could only carry out the ritual to break the deal. Olga and I recited special prayers that break spells. Anna and her sisters and brother had to address the dead woman to ask her to leave them alone forever.
Lyudmila, please leave us alone. May your soul have peace. Please, I beg you, let us live normal lives.
Let go of us, please. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart.
I feel that she'll leave you. She won't touch your family, but she'll go where the guilty person is.
The woman who made her do it?
It is her right to revenge. We can't stop her.
You are going to be all right.
Thank you so much. We are extremely grateful.
It is hard to believe what a terrible magic crime the passion for someone else's husband can force a woman to commit. However, having received no love, she wished for so much. The unlucky marriage wrecker will have to suffer the punishment she deserved. If you're impressed by this mystical story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more incredible investigations are coming.